very easy to look on the internet and see these very cute tiny houses, but they're always inside the nature, alone, and very, very far from the urban environment. Okay. As a young European architect, I always dreamed to live in big cities. So welcome in aVOID tiny house. And so I thought, why not bring in the tiny house in the city? And this is why, if you look at my tiny house, you will see that it doesn't have any windows on the longer sides. It's actually it's a row house. The house, it's called aVOID because it's an empty space. It's connected with an experience, your living experience. So here, for example, there's my bed. Just opens like this. So more you live inside, and more you open the things that can make this void functional. I have my kitchen. When I was a kid, I was forced to live in a very small room because I could clean it every day because of my allergy to the dust. So I always have to keep things tidy, and this is maybe why I'm crazy, empty thing. And here, for example, you can open a chair, which is hidden in the wall. And when you open the chair, what you discover, it's wood, which is competing contrast with gray. So gray, it's the indeterminate material, and the wood, it's a domestic. So more you open, more you discover wood, and more you feel at home. So here, for example, there's the kitchen, where I have all my things to cook and so on, like coffee machine, which is very important for Italians. And here there's a sink that can be used also in the opposite way as a cutting board. And here you can see there's the tap that can be also put it up and down. And here all my dishes and so on, all the parts. And here I also have a very tiny fridge, which is very important, especially if you live in the city. You never have time to go to the supermarket. And here other spaces, olive oil, as I was saying here, my coffee, which is very important. And here, all the cutlery. And here, it's like an office, just my computer and my things to draw, and pencils and so on. And here, waste bin, recycle, so I have plastic, paper, and generic.
Did you create the sink?
The sink?
Yeah, did you create that?
I designed it with a company. So behind this house, there's also a very interesting story, which is, I call it business crowdfunding, because I went to companies, I knocked the door, and I say, I need to build this tiny house. I want your help. I don't want to make it alone. Do you want to collaborate with me? And so I was going around next to my city in Italy. I found this company that's made with me the sink, and another company which gave me the tap, another company which gave me the stove. And I put together like 150 person to make this project. So basically with my tiny house, I was moving from my city, which is on the seaside in Italy, and I was moving from a construction site to another. So everyone was installing a part of it. For example, the lights also come from next to my city. There was an architect, a young architect, which designed the lighting project that can help the space to seem bigger. So you see the lights have a reflection on the walls, and this gives like a expanding effect. Here, there's the bed. So it just opens like this. And here, I also have all the equipment. I designed this sleeping bag, which is made by wood.
Wool?
Wood fiber.
What? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a very special sleeping bag because this house, it's all made by wood. So the insulation, the structure, the furniture, and also the sleeping bag. So it was very important for me to have a connection with this material, which means sustainability, but also domestic warmth. Yeah, here there's my pillow. And all the colors are studied so that there's no too much attention to something. When you are in this space, you feel like a sculptor because everything, it's very minimal. So there's a lot of attention to yourself living in this space. Also here, you see, it's like a painting. This house doesn't have any picture on the walls, and so I decided to use wood as a painting. So the texture of the wood perfectly combines with the line, and it's almost like a painting, I would say. And I wanted to show you another thing. Let's see if it's gonna work.
So you move the bed every day?
Yeah, I love to find again the emptiness, especially when I create things. I am an architect, so I used to draw a lot, and for me it's very important to have the house empty again, like a white paper. You know, when you start something, you need a white paper to create, and for me it's the house itself which helps me to create things. So the emptiness opens a way for creativity. Here there's to close it. Here I will show you a piece that I still need to fix, but this is how it's gonna work. The house is still under construction. So basically you will put out this stool, which fits perfectly, and this mattress, which was produced just for this house, has a very special feature that can be folded again in this way. You see, two persons could sleep here. So for me it was very important to, not just to have like a single house, because, you know, you could always have some host. I want to show you also this. Living in a tiny house, it means that you always are on wheels, which is very great. But sometimes you could feel a little bit tired of always being on the ground floor. So this is why I created these windows that you can open up. So for me, since I was always lived in Italy at a higher level, where I always saw the sky, for me it was very important to have a window where I could see the sky. You see also the window has a perfect inclination so that your body can lay down like this and enjoy the summertime and this very nice view. And here in the future I want to install photovoltaic panels so that the house can be self-sufficient. There are a lot of windows on this side, so like complete open facade in here, and these three windows. So you can place your tiny house depending on the season. So during the winter you would face this facade to the south, so you can get a lot of energy from the sun and a lot of light. And during the summer you can rotate it like 180 degrees so that the sun faces the other facade and has this natural ventilation. This is a metal covering, so the warm air comes inside from the other facade and can be expelled here. So during the summertime the house doesn't get too warm. So obviously the house has also a table. If you want to eat, you can open the table from the wall. And also in this here you can see the wood, how it makes this space very domestic. So you feel comfortable and at home. And here you can also use it obviously as a desk to draw and do everything. And if you have guests, you rotate this one like this, and this one comes down in this way. So also 6 people can have dinner here. I was also here in Italy with my friends. We had very large pizza and we were sitting 6 person here, and it was a lot of fun. Here you take the 2 chairs, foldable chairs, that from outside they almost seems like paintings. But they are actually chairs, and I have to say they are also very, very comfy. It was designed by a German designer, this chair. We made it together, this application. I study architecture, and when I finished, I want to buy a very traditional house in Bologna, where I studied, and create something like this, like the aVOID. And then I was feeling that traveling and see other cultures was more important for me, so I abandoned this idea. So the idea of placing my traditional apartments on wheels and traveling with the house, that was the solution. I moved it from Italy, and the first travel was to Berlin, to Germany. So I traveled with this house for 1,200 kilometers. I drove through the Alps and then go down to Germany, and it was a very, very strong adventure. It was attached to a car. You travel with your house, and I really felt that I could bring my house with me like a trolley, you know. Every stop that we stop at the gas station, I was going back and see, oh, everything is here, everything, oh, I didn't miss anything, the windows are still intact. Because I was afraid it was my first moving of something so big. And the first travel was actually here in Berlin, where I met Bo Le-Mentzel.
You know, the final position actually in the plan is here. You know, and there's another house in between.
Okay, ready? Push!
It was showing, it was opening this sketch of this like living experiment.
Alles gut.
Push, 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 push. Leonardo, push.
I was always very fascinated by tiny houses, but at the same time I was also very skeptical, especially about their usage.
It's good?
Well, it could be like 20 centimeters more here.
If you look at the typical American tiny house, you would recognize that it has windows of all the sides. This helps for sure to have a better feeling inside, so the house seems a little bit bigger. But this means that you will always live as an independent unit detached from the community. If you look at my aVOID tiny house, you will see that it doesn't have any windows on the longer sides. So if you see alone this house, if there's no neighbor living next to you, you will see that it doesn't make sense. Because it's a row house.
Then I arrived here. I had the experience to feel home in 2 different countries. It was very interesting experience because inside it's the same, but outside I'm in a completely different environment. So here is where you can sleep. You can see it's all like a wood nest. When this shutter is closed, you don't have any direct light which comes to you, and you have a lot of privacy. There's a light which is in here, and also another light which is in here with a USB plug. So you can stay here, work on your computer or your phone. And here there's a little side bed. and you can, yeah, you really feel like in a safe space here. So here there's the ladder, and since I really love to cook, I also have some plants which are hidden here. So you can open this one.
So your little greenhouse.
Yeah. The plants get the sun from the window. That can be also be opened every day. Then I cook pasta with tomato, get some of the bigger basilicum leaves.
Basil.
Yeah, basil. And maybe a pepper. Yes. So here there's the bathroom. Now it was used as a tiny gallery. So I gave my house to an artist to try the experience. So here there's a mirror with all the things, and here there's small space for towels and other things to shower. And now you have to use your imagination, because I still need to create few things. But imagine to open this one and to take it off from here, the shower that you would place here in this way. And when you close everything, you can shower in here, also with the light on. So here I'm gonna put a drainer, but all the water can flow in this way as it's like on a roof. And here the composting toilet. And you have to use the imagination all the time. Here I will have a foldable sink, so a sink that it's used on the trains, for example. So the idea, it's always to have the water flowing as you are on the roof. So the water will go down like this as a rainfall, and then it will be collected below the trailer, the gray water, and then again to be filtered with the shower loop system that was developed by a friend of mine, Jason from Finland. And you would ask me if I am an exhibitionist, because yeah, you can see there's a window. I also have a curtain that you can close, but if you are in nature, why not taking a shower in front of the nature? So I also think about this to enjoy, yeah, the beautiful environment. So when this window is closed and this door is closed and the house is faces the south, you can reach a lot of sun energy, so that this very tiny room gets so much warmer than the rest of the house. Everyone wants to have a warm bathroom. So this is why it faces the main facade, which could seem like a strange decision, but for me it was very important to get as much sun as I could to make it as a warm bathroom like everyone wants. And also here could be closed. Even the curtain, it's in the same gray color. So when you close it, you really feel that you are in a gray, empty space. So you have the feeling of being in the void, which it's where the name comes from, the aVOID house. You see, you can see now how I was saying before with the lights. So it creates like circular things that gives like an idea of extension. This was also a technique that was studied in collaboration of my initial idea, to have this very narrow room that always give you the feeling of being in a tiny house, because this reminds the movement of the house going and traveling. So you, even if you're staying in a place, you always have the feeling that you are on the move in some way. But more you discover, more you open the house, what happens is that the house gets expanded horizontally. Like when you are breathing, you opens up in this way. So there's the kitchen like this, there's the table like this, there's the bed which goes down like this. There's the bathroom which enlarges the space, also like this. Yeah.
How does all this open?
Yeah.
It's all push?
Yeah, it's like push like this, and yeah, and closes like this.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see there's a lot of happening, just pushing, and it's very interesting because the people always try to guess. Well, what is this opening? This one, this one. Then I know it's here, and yeah. For me, it was very important not to see too many personal objects. This one, it doesn't. You have to pull it. Not to have too many influence from your past and your belongings. Closes, like the emptiness, it's like the space for my creativity. So more it's clear, more gives me the idea of that I can create something new. To cook in here, it feels very, very cozy because you are surrounded by wood. So for me, wood was not just construction material, but I wanted to say, yeah, something about being home, surrounded by wood. Louise, you want to come for tea?
For tea?
Yeah, my neighbor.
Hi Leonardo.
How are you?
Invitation.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
How is it going, the construction of your tiny house?
Well, I don't have a solution for my roof
For a roof window.
This is
Yeah.
really complicated. I nearly got a nerve attack. No, seriously.
Yeah, maybe the window that it doesn't open, it's still fine. Yeah, you have to make it some parts that can dilate and shrink during the season, and also during the transport. You can always have some space to make it, so you can move it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
When I will be back to Italy, I would like to create a neighborhood. I would love to call it Migratory Neighborhood, like a group of tiny houses. They can travel and move in the city like birds. So every season they can go to a place to another.
Thank you, neighbor.
So for example, maybe in the summer they could find a place in a school parking lot because it's not used. And during the winter you can use a park because maybe it doesn't have a lot of visitors because it's very cold. Oh wow, so it's really happening.
I have electricity. I have electricity. Yeah.
So here is
I'm a vent. And I was so much inspired by you because I wanted it to be open. It's like your house actually.
Yeah.
So I put the kitchen here on the side and not in the middle. So I will have it like you, but with this bed here and sea view on top.
and what about your tiny object for your museum?
Yeah, I need some
shelves. Okay.
And I put the objects. Yeah.
More people are becoming nomads. Everyone wants to experience this life going around all different countries. So I imagine that everyone could have like an app on their phone. Everyone can look at where all these neighborhoods are located in the world and say, okay, now I will rent a car and I will move my tiny house to Paris or to Madrid or to Berlin or to Milan. So the city can put on this platform all the spaces that are unused, so that people can actually have access to these spaces. And what does the city get in return? For sure, energy, creativity, and life. We know that most of the time the problems which are connected with criminality, it's because the spaces are not used. So to bring someone to live in these spaces can obviously help to regenerate these urban spaces.
So migratory neighborhoods where I really would love to live and try to experience. So the idea is that the more you can shrink your things, the more you can get closer to the city center. And I really want to live very, very close to what the city can offer. And probably we will see again in Munich.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to bring my tiny house to Munich. So your museum, it's in the middle of Munich, right?